You got that final D.
That final D. Yikes. I don't think I want that
Oh,
final D.
no, thank you. I'll
Not yet,
pass.
Maybe just.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
See dead people.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Here's Johnny.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Welcome to Talking Horror with Jamie and Nikisha.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Nikisha, and this is Talking Horror with Jamie,
And Nikisha.
where we share our love for all things scary and talk horror through the lens of human behavior. Welcome, everyone. Got our lenses on. We are ready to talk.
Put my lenses on.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now we're ready to
Join the club, producer Brian.
I know. Sorry, I guess
Yeah,
I'm just
two eyes.
yeah, 2 eyes. That was my nickname in high school. Piece of shit.
Oh, it got dark real fast. Good stuff. Well, speaking of dark, today we're talking about the 2000 supernatural horror film, Final Destination.
What you have to realize is that we're all just a mouse that a cat has by the tail. Every single move we make, from the mundane to the monumental, the red light that we stop at or run, the people we have sex with or won't with us, the airplanes that we ride or walk out of. It's all part of death's sadistic design, leading to the grave.
Dark and death and all the like.
You got that final D.
That final D. Yikes. I don't think I want that final D.
No, thank you.
Not
pass.
yet, Maybe just give me another 50 years, please. Great. Well, the OG Final Destination movie was directed by James Wong, not to be confused with Wan. And it stars Devon Sawa, Ali Larder, Keir Smith, and Tony Todd, which I always forget that he is in this movie.
Sure.
As a super creeper. So heavy spoilers for Final Destination. If you have not seen it, where have you been the past 25 years?
Oh my God, we're old.
25 years of Final D.
A Final D, but also just we are 1 day away from the anniversary of the flight that crashed on Final Destination. It was May 13th. We are filming May 12th.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, good eye, Nikisha. Yeah.
Too creepy.
I didn't pick... Nice.
That is
not
creepy.
Nice. Yeah, great.
Ooh.
Bad.
Right. Well, I mean, we're not on the day. So
I know, that's true. Let's do a 180 and flip it around.
No. I can't. 180 was the flight, y'all, if you didn't catch that. So
Keep up, folks.
Keep up. Can you keep up? That's my favorite Destiny Child song.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I love that. I play that in the cycling class all the time.
I mean, that's
really?
a good. That's that has a good BPM for cycling.
It's a fast BPM. It's good. It's very good. Well, I use the faster pace, but yes, it's fun. So yes, heavy spoilers for Final Destination. And Jamie, there's like a trillion trigger warnings, so please enlighten us.
Yeah. And this is okay.
Just
all right.
Every phobia, every fear.
So this movie has a lot of insides on the outside. We haven't gotten one of these, I feel like, in a while. But like any kind of way that you can get insides on the outside, they think of it. So we have, and this is also like very pre 9/11. We start with a plane explosion.
Yeah.
And it's very graphic. Like the whole plane, like, splits open, people are flying out. It's like very disturbing. Then you have a hanging in a shower. Then you have I think it's the train. Is the train the next one?
No.
Where they
go. All right. Oh no, the bus.
The bus is next?
It's
Terry.
Todd. Yeah, it's Todd. Then it's
I thought Terry and the bus.
Yes, then it's Terry and the bus.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Then-
yes. Getting hit by a bus. Then the
Yeah.
teacher
Yes.
gets stabbed after everything goes wrong in her home, a fire. Then it's
Billy
the
and the train.
like the wind of the train accidentally sending a piece of metal going flying. So if you don't
Yeah.
like that, stay away. If you don't like electricity, stay away. If you don't
Yeah.
like a random sign falling on you, stay away.
If you don't like
if you don't
Paris.
Oh my god.
For those watching, I did finger quotes.
Yes.
If you don't like the FBI who investigate premonitions, stay away. If you don't like
Jamie goes, we're watching the movie, and Jamie verbatim goes, I took notes. She goes,
I think I wrote down what I said too. What I wrote down is, we're the FBI. We check out premonitions.
Yeah, she said, we're the FBI. We investigate premonitions.
My God.
Funny. We had a lot of fun watching this one.
Yes. But so
oh
true.
man. And then yeah, I think those are all of them. But yeah, guts and blood and shrapnel and premonitions, if you don't like that. If you don't like weird relationships that aren't really defined and then suddenly like they're just relationships. Yeah. I said a lot of things.
Yeah, that's a lot. And just to further that train one, it is a decapitation. So if you don't like that, that yes, also stay away. That's a lot going on in this movie.
There's a lot.
Yes.
But before we get into all of that, producer Brian, please give us some words.
Hi, everybody. Hi, YouTube. Hello, everyone listening to us. Thank you so much for joining us on this Final D episode. That'll be the last time I do that. That's my final.
I know. I have a premonition that's not.
Yeah. You have.
I'm having a premonition.
That's so Raven.
Thank you for listening. Today we're doing Final Destination. We have a lot of fun stuff planned for this summer, so get excited about it. But if you want more than just these delicious episodes, you can of course follow us on social media at Talk Horror Pod. We have all types of stuff on there, videos that go over other movies that we've watched, fun like countdowns and news and reactions and stuff. So definitely check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Talk Horror Pod.
Grand. Well, have you watched anything new this past week?
So we have.
Okay.
We watched Final Destination 2, 3, 4, and 5.
We didn't finish 5 yet.
No, we stopped in the middle of 5 to record this, and we'll probably finish it later.
I mean, 5 is like the best roundabout one. Spoiler, but without spoiling. But
is it really? Because so far it's fucking terrible.
I heard 5. I'll leave it. I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay.
That truly blows my mind, because watching it, I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah. 5 is not my favorite. And again, we're only halfway through it, and only one person has died so far. So like we've seen the opening.
Truly wild way.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah. This is your first time watching it?
Yes.
This is my first, both of our first time watching it. But I had seen all of the other ones.
I had only seen the first one. So 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all brand new to me.
All right, well, y'all text me when that's done.
Yeah, but I have seen, I've seen nothing of 5, but for all the other movies, I had already seen the like big event at the beginning, and some of the death scenes, like on Watch Mojo episodes or like onto a TikTok or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but in terms of like a full narrative, these were all brand new to me. But yeah, we watched the first one, had a great time. We went right into the second one because we wanted to see the opening log sequence.
For
Then we
sure.
watched that one, had a good time. Then we watched the third one, which as of right now, the third one is by far my favorite one of all of them.
Favorite because it's bad, or favorite because you genuinely like it better than the other
I
two?
think it takes itself seriously in a good way, and yet the kills are so like shocking and wild and bloody.
It's like the kills between like 1 and 2, and then they escalate to 3 in like a wild way, but in like a wild, marginally believable way. And then you get to like 4 and 5, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Well,
4 and 5 were made for 3D.
The gymnast scene in 5 we saw, and it's fucking unhinged. That's
okay. Yeah.
I was like, that's not fucking possible. What am I watching?
And that's why that one bothers me, because it's like, okay, the wind blows. Spoilers for 5, but the wind blows the chalk, and then the chalk things, and then she slips off, and she goes, and I'm just like, all of this for like something that could never happen. It's like when I watch exorcism movies and they're like moving their bodies in ways they could never do it, and then the exorcism is over and like they're totally fine. I'm like, no, like there's no way that physically what happened to her could actually happen to her, and that weirdly takes me out more than like an insane like nail gun to the head or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, yes, because the way that she falls in there, you're just like, what?
Like, what?
Actually shocking. Truly shocked me.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see your thoughts after you finish it.
This better be this now. Now I have expectations.
Yeah.
Well, don't have big expectations. I'm just saying.
No, I have
like,
huge. It's gonna be the best movie of all time.
Through the roof. It's called Final Expectations 5.
Great expectation. Great
expectation.
Also, it is shocking to me that they did back-to-back 3D movies.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
absolutely
wild, especially because 4 was not good. Also, I hate when movies get rid of the number and do the Final Destination. Like, fuck you, you're going to keep doing these movies.
Because then it's out of alphabetical order on Max, and like...
Same, because I literally was like, where is it streaming? And it came up, it was on Max, and I clicked it, but it was the Final Destination.
Yeah, no, that's
not Final Destination. I'm like, fuck this.
I will say, though, I'll give Max this. When you finish the third one, it queues up the fourth one. It doesn't queue up the alphical fifth one.
Yeah.
So, I'll give them that. Yeah, but still, when you're scrolling through, and it's like, Final Destination... 2, Final Destination 2, Final Destination 3, The Final Destination, then Final Destination 5, and then The Final bullshit.
You're like, no, what is this? What are y'all doing?
I disagree.
I hate that. It really bothers me.
But also, last thing on this, because I know you guys have seen on social media the promotion for the new one. There's all of these trucks driving the logs, which I really find so crazy how that is the one thing that we as a millennial collective have latched on to.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like
that's the scariest one. Maybe. I'm torn between that and the plane, but like I feel like the log one is the most likely one for like something to go terribly, terribly wrong. And I wonder if that is why it's easiest to scare people. I mean, also, I don't think they would do things with planes. That seems pretty bad.
Yeah.
Of course.
But yeah, I feel like that's the one that like just I guess feels like the most likely terrible accident that could happen.
Yeah. Even before they had the promotion for it, when younger generations would just like post a video or something and it'd be like a log thing in front of them, like everyone in the comments is just going wild, you know.
I don't even want to be next to a truck on the highway.
Period.
Oh no.
Like, I don't want to be next to anyone.
No. Like when we're driving in the car, will be having like a lively, wonderful conversation, and then we'll like pull us alongside a truck, and it's silence until we pass them.
I just don't want to be near you.
Absolutely. And I heard that you're not supposed to pass trucks on their right side because that's where their blindest spot is. So like always just a little.
They also
reminder.
Shouldn't be riding in the left lane anyway. I'm just
true.
Yeah.
But if it's multi-laned, you know,
truckers,
and
you better be obeying rules.
Yeah,
we take rules very seriously here.
This is a rules podcast, and
this
and these movies have a shit ton of rules.
Kind of.
Enough. They
think.
don't follow them. I don't know. I can't get which
And
one
well,
did we
they
just...
do. They have established rules, and then we'll get into it. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nikisha, did you watch anything?
I did actually because I finally had a day off. First, I watched Y2K. So fucking random. That's
Did you like
it? A24 comedy, whatever.
Yeah. It's like Rachel Zegler and then the kid from Hunt for the Wilder People and Deadpool 2. Like the New Zealand kid.
And the kid from the It, isn't he from the It
movies?
Yes. It was not good.
Oh no.
Literally the only thing that I latched on to was just the pure nostalgia of like the outfits, the technology, the things that they did as like high schoolers in 1999 and like the references, historical references.
Did it feel too heavy-handed?
Historical references.
Historical. What is this?
I'm dead.
You know what also had historical references? Final Destination 3.
No.
Oh my god.
There's a scene in Final Destination 3 where she's like, look through history. And she like pulls out a portrait of Abraham Lincoln that has like a cut through it right where the bullet went through. And then there's pictures of the Twin Towers with like a cloud that looks like a plane. And she's like, it's all been premonitions. And I'm like, this movie fucking rules.
What? I can't.
And then Jamie was like, we need a Final Destination movie, like a fucking like Assassin's Creed movie where like they take place in different like time periods.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, I'm in. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Isn't that like not Da Vinci Code? God. What is it? Still Nick Cage.
The
monuments.
He's stealing
National
the Declaration of
Treasure.
Independence.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just watched that for the first time this January.
Really? I used to love that movie.
It was fun. They were fun.
It's fun.
Shout out to Shelby if she listens to this podcast.
Yes. But Y2K, it's not. And then I was like, I have to look at the Rotten Tomato score on this, and it's like in the 40s, the low 40s. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. But another movie that I watched, The Ugly Stepsister.
Oh, you did watch it.
I did watch it.
Oh shit!
And
nice.
Before
we're doing that next week.
Yes, Brian had mentioned it before we started recording this, and I was like, "Oh my god!" on the inside because I watched it and I fucking loved it. I'm just gonna,
oh my god, I'm so excited!
That's great.
Else, but I loved it.
That makes me very happy.
Yes, and it's body horror too. So I was so it's called it calls itself body horror. So I was just very surprised, but I was waiting for this movie to come out, and so when I saw that it came up on Shudder, I'm like, oh yeah, I have a day off. That is immediately watch.
Awesome.
So I'm excited to talk about it because I had a fabulous, fun time watching it.
Oh great!
Oh awesome!
I'm excited. I'm really excited about that. And then this weekend, we'll prep it here because we'll talk about it next week. Jamie and I are going to our first Renaissance fair this weekend.
Not my first.
I'm so jealous.
Oh, my first. Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
We're in Philly?
No, we're going to the New Jersey one.
Where is it at in New Jersey?
It's I think it's in South Jersey. Unless you believe in Central Jersey. Which I do, but I still think it's pretty far south. It's in Columbus.
Okay. I have no clue where anything is in Jersey except my surrounding area.
It's like 45 minutes outside of Philly.
Yeah, that's like decidedly south. Near Springfield, Mansfield, Mount Holly.
Oh,
I'm Holly.
Oh God, the memes with Katy Perry. Or
oh my God, that's literally all Brian has been getting.
That's my whole TikTok. That and like our BFA's worth it. Those are my two. Those are my two TikTok things.
Please send me that one. The BFA's.
But next week, this is my first Ren Fair. This is not hers, but it's our first one together, so I'm excited for that. We did get outfits.
I can't wait to see the pictures.
Yeah, we got our Ren Fair fit. And yeah, it'll be a great time. And
get your stomachs ready for some turkey legs.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
I think they call them dragon legs there for some reason. Which seems worse.
Slightly.
I don't want to partake in eating dragon. But that's just me.
Just my opinion. Sorry.
Mm.
But yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear about it. Great. Well, let's get into Final Destination. We need a plot summary. So producer Brian is going to hit us up with all of those nice rules.
What's the plot?
Right. Yeah, we will get the rules. This one is definitely going to be like a this happens and then and then everyone dies and then this happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you got it.
Oh, I did. Done. Yeah.
All right. 2 minutes on the clock. Ready,
Okay.
steady, go.
Okay. So, this high school is taking a trip to France because that's what high schools do, and the French club or whatever. And Alex, played by Devon Sawa, can I keep you? Is has a vision that everyone's gonna die on the flight, and he starts freaking out, and he leaves the flight, and like a handful of his friends follow him, and then some people who like were trying to keep him on get kicked off as well. The two teachers leave the plane. They let one of the teachers go back on, and then as they're fighting, these group of friends or these high schoolers are fighting in the terminal. They see that the plane explodes behind them, and they are the only survivors. Then what we learn is that because they escaped death and they broke, quote, death's plan, they are getting picked off by death in these absurd circumstances, one by one, in the order that they would have died on the plane or based on their seats in this one. So the first death we have is his best friend Todd. Todd slips in the bathroom and ends up getting hung on like the the drying line in the bathroom. Then you have Terry, who gets hit by a bus. And you also have this kid named Carter. Carter was Terry's girlfriend. Carter's like weirdly angry about all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And he is saved by Alex during his time. And if you save a person from their death skips them and goes to the next person. And then Billy, Sean William Scott, aka Stifler, gets his head decapitated by a piece of a train. And then you have Miss Lawler, who dies in like a Rube Goldberg machine, and she gets stabbed. And the cops are after him. And long story short, you have Clear, that's a woman's name. You have Clear, who's played by Ali Larder, and Alex ends up saving her, and they think they've escaped it all, and they end up going to Paris together. But it still follows them, and then Carter dies in the sign accident, and that's the end. But if you didn't watch the deleted scene,
My God,
there is an alternate ending to this movie where we find out that Clear is pregnant and Alex died saving her with the electricity, and Clear gives birth to his son. And the movie literally ends with, instead of the wind representing a death, now the wind reminds her of Alex, and they're going to live their lives to the fullest. Swear to God. That was obviously vetoed because it makes no fucking sense.
No, how the hell were they together for her to be?
Anyway, that's the scrapped original ending. Thank God.
Okay.
That's the plot.
Well, great. So let's start with our first segment, trick or treat, where we let you know right off the bat, was this a trick, we hated it, or we don't know how we feel about it, kind of in between, or treat, this was a treat. Also, let us know if you have seen this movie before.
Trick. Treat.
Producer Brian, how about you go first?
I had seen this movie before. I think the last time I watched it was on VHS, so I had not seen it in a very long time. And to me, this was an absolute treat, because if it wasn't a treat, we would have stopped right here. We would not have watched 2 right away. This was a treat, not only in the nostalgia vibes. I'll get into that myself. Yeah, this is a treat.
All right, Jamie.
I have seen this so many times before, and I think it's a treat.
Yeah, I echo your sentiments exactly, Jamie. I think it's a treat. It does.
It's a treat.
it does the job. I am unsettled every
Yes.
time I watch this.
Mhm.
But we'll get into more details. Let's hit those likes and gripes.
And now our likes and gripes.
Jamie, how about you go first, since you've seen this a million times?
Approximately 1 million times.
100
Yeah, I've seen this
Million.
movie like a wild number of times. Not, like I feel like it was on TV just all the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Um, and I'm sure that nostalgia also probably plays a really big role in why I enjoy this movie. I also definitely had like a childhood crush on Devon Sawa, so I'm sure
Mhm.
that also plays a role. Um, but there certainly are a lot of things about this movie that are pretty silly.
Mhm. For sure.
Uh, but I'm here to tell you that I don't give a shit and I still enjoy this movie, even though I took very long notes because, again, it's like this movie is so bizarre. But I think that what ultimately works and probably is similar for a lot of other like similar types of movies is the death sequences are really like uncomfortable.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
like it's really disturbing to watch them. And so you're willing to kind of sit through some of the other silly exposition in between because they I find them to be like deeply effective and make me very uncomfortable. Especially this opening sequence is very uncomfortable. Like yeah, in like a post 9/11 world watching this, it's just like what the fuck. It's
Absolutely.
it's really terrifying. Um, so so yeah, I feel like that. And then like the one kill outside of the plane sequence that I always remembered is the teacher one because it's just
Mm.
so utterly over the top between like, you know, she pours hot water into her mug and her mug magically cracks from hot water.
Yes.
It's a fucking mug. I don't understand. And then it's dripping and then it drips onto her PC. And how does every time that like water, like a drip of water touches something electric, it immediately starts a fire? Is that are there no circuit breakers in any of these locations? Isn't that what they're for?
Right.
And
Can it just piggyback off of the water moment? Because that was also the same thing with the first scene when Todd slips on the water and then the water just magically like
yes,
Yeah. Oh, the
moves.
becomes
blue, the
Oh, it
blue
moves.
moves on
water.
its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So some of the notes I wrote, well, I wrote them all in order. But yeah, I wrote wild shower death. How does the water disappear? Um, the water follows. Toilet water is not that color blue.
Yeah.
Um, oh, why is he dry shaving?
Crazy.
Yeah. Just
And he like
immediately like
weirdly goes to like a spot like does anyone I know I've never shaved my face, but like don't you start at the top part that you're shaving? Why would you go straight for like just this spot right here? Do you do
who
that?
I
who
have
Brian?
never started with my neck. I have always started with my face.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yes.
And he also didn't have anything to shave. So it was like, why are you even grabbing this razor right now, guy?
Yeah,
Like
like
what are we doing?
if you used a
Mhm.
Um
fork.
yeah, it was weird. Um, so in the beginning, I wrote intuition doesn't make sense because, like, it is kind of weird the things that they're like putting out into the universe that is supposed to like heighten his anxiety before he has the full premonition.
Oh
And I
yeah.
kind of
Uh-huh.
feel like it doesn't, like, I don't think that a lot of those things make sense. I don't think that
Hmm.
it, like, you know, act like those things I don't think would activate my like gut anxiety reaction, and I'm speaking from experience of being a deeply anxious person that like I just don't see those things. I would just be anxious about like, oh, we're going on a plane, that's stressful. Like I don't
Not
need that.
yeah, not the my birthday is the same as the
Yeah,
time of the
what, who
flight.
cares?
Yeah.
Or
Oh, balloons.
yes.
Well,
That didn't make sense. Oh,
that's
sorry,
why.
what were you
No,
saying?
I wrote down that like this movie is just like anxiety proven right,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
and
great
like
statement.
that in itself is just a horror movie.
Oh my God,
Yes.
I think about that a lot because I think about it in terms of like OCD and like if you have like this really stuck obsessive thought about something terrible happening and then it does and like all the compulsions that you've been doing to prevent the bad thing from happening, but then the bad, like you're doing everything and
Mm-hmm.
then your anxiety comes true. I think about that a lot, and that's also why I feel like it's not helpful to talk about things in absolutes of like that thing will never happen, because like what if it does?
Right.
Right. Because it
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
Um,
Ooh.
another another note I wrote, I guess, in the beginning of the movie is ugly baby.
That baby on the plane was
Jamie,
so ugly.
please.
And
Please.
I guess I said that as a mother. Whoopsies.
I also will
Yeah.
never forget the line just with the baby in general when he was like, yeah, God wouldn't let a plane fall with like a baby or like, with a
Yeah,
baby.
and then immediately cut to the disabled
Yes.
person in the front row and like
Oh yeah. It was like very weird.
It was very
Um,
weird.
uh, I just wrote clear in all caps because I hate that that's her name. It makes me so mad. Um, Also, can you imagine being on a flight where an entire class of students are all going to France and you just happen to have booked that same flight to
oh
Paris?
my god.
Absolutely not.
No way.
That
Absolutely
would be
not.
awful. Um, Also, the fact that the male French teacher keeps only speaking in French when he's having his like full blown meltdown on the plane. I just wrote, we don't need French right now. Like that's
Like
a
yeah.
wild reaction to be
Speak.
having to your student who's like not okay. Like what?
Yeah.
Right.
Why
Like
are you insisting on continuing to speak
On
in
stick.
French?
yeah, fucking
Um,
speak in English.
That's
oh
so
my God.
true.
Um, the plane crash is awful to watch.
Yeah,
And
that's
I can't imagine like we'll talk about survivor's guilt, but like I can't imagine watching that happen like from the
Mm-hmm.
terminal. Like that would be awful. Then we're the FBI, we check out premonitions. Uh, the memorial was like a weird bird, and I didn't know why.
oh yeah.
Right.
Hated that.
Um, yeah. Death is wind. Death CGI cloud.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just I just wrote clear has to be quirky, so welder.
Oh, like the true 90s like stereotype is
Yes.
gonna be she has
Like
the bangs,
quirky girl.
brown hair, long brown
Mhm.
Oh my
hair. Yeah.
God. Which
Hmm.
Like
she
what?
dies at the end of the movie, which is also weird, which makes you think that they did, like, she must have already dyed her hair for something else. And then they, like, came
Oh,
back to
yes.
film that end scene. Because, Brian, you were talking about that scene, and she has the bangs and the brown hair in that scene.
Mm.
Yes. Oh
Wait, in
yeah.
Paris or
I didn't
in
no, in
No,
Paris she's
she had
blonde.
in
Yeah.
Paris she's blonde, but in the deleted scene she still has the brown hair. In the deleted scene where she like has a baby, she still has the brown
Oh.
hair and the bangs.
Got it.
Um,
Got it. Got it. Got it.
so
Oh, now I
Crazy.
let's see. How does Tony Todd know Alex's name?
That whole scene. What?
She was probably filming Legally Blonde.
Oh, because that's 2001.
One.
Mm.
Oh wow.
Is she blonde in that movie? I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Neither here nor there.
I think so. I thought she was blonde in that movie.
Maybe.
Because she plays she's the one being sued.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's right. You're right. You're right. The
and she
workout.
retains Elle.
Yes.
Yeah. How does Tony Todd know his name? I also wrote, and I don't know what I was writing, but I just wrote Mac Daddy. Why did I write that?
You
Because
wrote
there's a
Mac
line
Daddy because
that
there's
he
the
What's the
quote.
line? Yes.
And you don't even want to fuck with that Mac Daddy.
Thank you.
I wrote that one down, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't write it in quotes. I wrote a different quote later saying, I'm not going Dahmer on you guys,
Oh yeah.
which is also
Oh,
bad.
God.
This one has some
Oh.
great quotes.
Yes.
Creepy puppet at the teacher's house.
Oh. Yeah, when she's packing.
Yep. Also, Man, Alex just looks so suspicious this
All the
whole
time.
movie,
Oh my god.
constantly. Just like cannot help himself in every moment. That being said, there is zero evidence that he finagled any of this, with the exception of him being in the teacher's house because
Right.
he's an idiot. But like these other things are just so wild that like every time they're there, it's like I don't understand what you think is happening.
Yeah.
Um, it annoys me anytime the wind blows and the windows are closed.
Mm.
Yeah, like this
Um,
magic wind.
yeah. I just wrote beheading with a lot of G's. And then the last thing I wrote is baby. They aren't even together. She just
Right.
randomly starts like treating him like they're in a relationship, and I'm like, since fucking when?
Yeah.
So it's that is so weird.
Like she calls him baby at one point,
Yes.
and I'm like,
That's what I'm
what?
saying. Yeah. Like towards the end, she's like, oh my God, baby, come here. And like they
Oh,
hug,
baby.
and
I
it's
thought you were talking about
weird.
deleted scene baby.
Oh,
Like, you're
no,
talking
no.
about
Sorry.
no.
She
saying baby.
calls
Okay.
him baby. And
Thank
it's
you.
like,
Okay.
when did this relationship blossom?
Exactly.
Very
Agree.
confused. Like we clearly missed some exposition that they probably cut out.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this movie is short.
It is. It's like hour 20, if that.
Well,
Yeah.
by the time the opening sequence and all that is done, you're like pretty deep
Way
into
through
the
the movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's long. It's like a pretty lengthy opening sequence.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you got to get all those coincidences
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
before
My birthday, no. But yeah, those were all my notes. Despite all of my silly things, I don't know. It's a good, fun, silly time. You should watch all of them immediately after.
Well, I definitely looked up how it goes into the second one because I forgot. Because I remember that Clear is in
Hmm.
the second one. So I was like, well, how
Yeah.
does she come
Yeah.
back again?
And
But
spoiler, she does not survive
right,
that movie,
she does not.
and also dies in a wild way.
Yeah. Lame. Not my favorite.
Yeah.
But also when they talk about how Alex dies, because that's not an
It's-
actual scene, right? Like
Yeah.
he just
No,
gets
they
No.
just say
brick
that he
falls
got
on
hit
him.
by a brick after being like agoraphobic for like months.
Yeah. Which I mean, touche. How could you not just
Yeah.
want to
There is
stay
in reality, there is a very if you're someone like Alex in reality, and like as I wrote this down, this is just a movie about somebody with crazy anxiety who was right once at the worst time. Like
Yep.
like he's just fucked forever.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like nothing fixes that.
Yeah.
And that heightens my anxiety, which is why I think this movie is so effective. Like what we were talking about, just even with the crazy dialogue. And I also put in my notes how it tries to be like so dramatic at times.
Yes.
But I know it's trying to stay grounded. But I think what makes it more grounded is the fact that these deaths are so real, like in the sense that they can happen. And that it just makes my anxiety like I had to skip that plane scene. I got to fly next month. Like I'm not trying to see that.
Sure, understood.
It is very disturbing. Like I absolutely don't blame you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of watching all of these, like there's some that don't bother me because it seems very silly, but then it kind of goes back to like, oh, that's like really like the tanning bed from the third one. I have never gone tanning and I will never go tanning.
Yeah.
Like that scared me to like, I would never do that ever again.
Absolutely. Or with the fake outs. Did y'all get like the LASIK eye one?
No, maybe that's in the fifth one. Ooh.
All right. Never
mind. Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
Anything. Okay. I'll keep my mouth shut. At this point, they
never
all
gonna do that
to me.
Totally.
This franchise definitely has a Saw vibe to it, where like you kind of watch each one just for like the traps or just the how they died kind of thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally.
That's like a running thing, like watching the Miss Mojo top Final Destination deaths.
Yeah.
You know, that's just like what I did, which is really kind of crazy. I'll piggyback off of Jamie because she said everything that, and I totally agree with it. I also just love one other thing they kept weaving in was the John Denver, Colorado, whatever song that was always happening right before the death, and that crazy coincidence of him being in the bathroom at the airport and that song playing, and him immediately just being like, he died in a plane crash, and like putting that together.
Yeah,
but again, yeah.
That was a beautiful scene when men can feel comfortable shitting with each other.
Oh my god. In this next to each other too.
I should have. Why did I not write that down? I think I was so flabbergasted that he was like, "I need you to go take a shit with me." That like I couldn't. I just my brain didn't want to retain that information.
Yeah.
My god. Yeah. But yeah, the Tony Todd scene was just like they just wanted Tony Todd to be there and be creepy, and fine, because he was creepy and it was effective. Him, doing what he needed to do as far as the one who is telling you what's going on and carrying the exposition along. But I don't think I had anything else. Oh, my last thing was like, who the fuck is getting on a plane just 6 months after all that shit happened?
I would never get on a plane ever again.
No, it's the ground only for me. Ever.
Yeah.
I take boats everywhere.
No.
Literally,
no, I would be agoraphobic.
Oh yeah, I would never leave. Yeah, no.
I'm never going anywhere.
No, absolutely not. But other than that, it's a fun movie. I've watched this a lot of times and watched, all the Top Kills and all the other ones. There was one time, and maybe this is a therapy session, but I wanted to watch the first one to try to get over my fear of planes and be like, you're going to sit here, Nikisha, and you're going to watch this plane scene, and it's going to help you get over with it. It didn't help.
Oh, interesting.
Do you think planes, like their entertainment, do you think they ever stream this movie on a plane?
Yeah, I absolutely. I've seen like 9/11 documentaries on like plane. Like
why?
That's wild.
Why?
There has to be a rule against that.
You'd hope.
Must be. Yeah, absolutely not. I can't deal with it. It's my palms are sweating just thinking.
Mom spaghetti.
Truly mom spaghetti. That's all that I have. Producer Brian, take us home.
Okay, so a lot of mine overlaps with the two of you. Again, this was only my second time seeing it.
That's wild.
That opening montage of him packing is so funny to me because like when he's on the bookshelf, like he takes his like French book and like Death of a Salesman falls off the shelf.
Oh my
God, I fucking love that shit. But also I think Jimmy had mentioned it, like everything leading up to the plane, like the movie was almost trying to say something about the fact that like he like something weird happened to him the night before and now this is why he can see it, but like the movie also doesn't do anything with that. Like there's that whole sequence of like the clock stops, or like the clock turns to 180, and like it's just like I don't understand, like if death has a plan and death and they've disrupted death's plan, then who's the one giving them the premonition? Like if we're supposed to believe that death is supernatural, then what's the other force allowing him to try to escape? Is that death just fucking with them on the back end? Like I don't know. All that is like really weird. Like it just like I wish it just like let you accept that he like had a gut feeling about it, other than like why are these people in all these movies special? You know what I mean? And I don't need like you were born to be this, Clark Kent.
Well,
like,
don't they kind of, I mean, not in this one, but I feel like they kind of allude to something in, it's 2, I think, when they say like, there was something related to the fact that they were connected back to Flight 180.
Yeah.
That was the second one, and that made a lot more sense, yes. Because, oh, I forgot about that. The second one was much better than I remember it being. And by remember it being, I mean like yesterday. Yeah, let's go. When the like guy is like giving them pamphlets about like religion or whatever it is in the terminal, I was like, wow, they really let anyone into airports pre 9/11.
Truly.
Let's go take a shit together. The John Denver stuff's insane. Oh, I also wrote ugly baby alert. And then the quote he says to the quote that he says to Todd, you really think you're gonna titty fuck them over Greenland? That's another quote. Oh, to jump off of what Jamie said earlier about a plane full of students, and on top of that, they fucking cheer when they take off.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God. That's worse than
No.
cheering when you land.
Yes. Hate it.
Oh, I thought the window effect of the plane blowing up and like a second the windows being blown in was really well done.
Scary.
Scary, definitely scary. We investigate premonitions, where I have that. The true 2000 stereotypes in movies was amazing. The memorial was awful. Carter's unhinged. I had a very hard time tracking Carter's like actual emotional arc in this, like in terms of like he's mad at you because like you still saved you, but you're mad at him. There was just like a weird that didn't make a lot of sense to me.
I just chalk that up to like he doesn't understand and he needs somebody to blame. And I think they already have established that he was like an asshole.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
he's
just like the rival.
Yeah. I accept that.
Okay. You don't have to.
No, I do. When we cut to Alex, like a week later, whatever it is, and like he's in his room, like with all the plane stuff, like his like Homeland board and like all that stuff. He actually hung up a plane from the ceiling. Like he literally like art directed his room for like being an agoraphobic
like
conspiracy
red string
theorist.
theory.
Yeah. And then he hung
I
up the
need
plane.
to look at the plane from all angles to make sense of this.
Which is awkwardly close to like where he would put his head when he was writing at his desk. Anyway.
Yes.
And then I wrote
like
he's
right
so
in his
fucked.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wrote he's so fucked. And then he's like, oh, I'm just like really upset, and I'm looking at Clear in the newspaper, like I guess I'll take my penthouse and rub one out. And he's like, nah, not right now. I'm like, what a weird moment.
It's like not the time.
Yeah.
Oh my
also,
God.
like, take that moment away and fill it with like a charming conversation between the two of them, so we believe she would call him baby at the end.
Right.
Why is he dry shaving? Why is it blue? This is a problem I have with all of these movies. No one is upset that everyone's dying.
That's true.
At any point, they have all seen these very traumatic experiences. They have all seen their friends die in brutal ways in front of them. And maybe except for like the occasional like boyfriend here or there, like everyone else is just like, we move on, I guess. Like until they realize that it's coming for them and like, well, I guess we have to run from. It's like nobody is emotionally involved in like the death of their friends. So that was something else. As you all know, you don't even want to fuck with that Mac Daddy. When Alex is creepily hanging outside of the teacher's house, like not being stealth at all.
No.
Like just being a fucking creeper at the end of the driveway. Yeah. My favorite part of that whole sequence, ooh, ooh.
Right.
He looks like the burglar from The Sims 1.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Screaming.
Or, you know the TikTok meme where it's like, this is how I would walk as a villain?
Oh.
But then she picks up the phone and calls the FBI by knowing the number by heart.
Right.
Like,
Ma'am.
that was weird. And then the agents get there so fast.
Like, almost immediately.
Yeah. And then when they were doing the house up, I just wrote baby proofing for death, which I didn't know there was a baby in the original ending. So, and then I stopped taking notes because I just was like, I gave into the fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Jamie and I mostly made fun of it out loud.
Yes.
So I didn't need to write anything down. But yeah, listen, this movie is stupid. This movie is fun. This movie is silly. This movie is like very memorable in a lot of different ways. And you know, There's a lot of nostalgia tied in with this. Not even the fact that I haven't seen it a lot, because that wouldn't add to nostalgia. But like as we've talked about, these early 2000s just fit into our wheelhouses like so much, and there's a nostalgia for that time, for those people and stuff. Um, so yeah, I just had a blast. This movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah. A lot of fun. Oh, we didn't even talk about like the rules and skipping over and all that stuff.
Okay.
How do we feel about all that
Oh,
stuff?
yeah.
Tell me. Yeah.
So I just want let's go over this.
Yes.
In this one, the people die in the order of their seats.
Mhm.
And if somebody saves you, it skips you and moves on to the next person.
Mhm.
But they in this movie never figured out how to break the chain.
Yeah.
Break the chain.
Break the chain. In this movie's chain,
Yes.
they couldn't figure out how to break the chain in this one. So yeah, those are the rules.
Yeah. So then everyone
did
just
you all
ends up like dying. Yeah.
did you like that this is like kind of like never ending sadness, you can never escape it? Or did you need something a little bit more like
Clear having a baby?
like Clear having a baby? Something a little bit more positive, I
I'm
guess.
okay with them not escaping. I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much. I think what bothers me, like for the actual chain, is that like nobody ever realizes it at the end. Like they realize the same thing at the end, that none of them fully cheated death and that they just restart, the plan. Because I'm like, in all of them, they're like, I Googled premonitions and I found out that this guy who didn't get on a plane to Paris was having them. And it's like, okay, so fine, movie, we'll go with that. You got the stupid thing and we got this information, but like, then you missed that part of it. Like, I don't know. I find that to be annoying, but I'm okay ultimately with them all dying.
Like meeting their demise. Like no one there's not really people that you're super rooting for,
I mean, I guess it's like, oh, you're kind of rooting for the ones who like, I mean, you're not rooting for the shitty people
Right.
in the movies. You're waiting for them to, get their just desserts.
Just like Saw.
But
yeah.
Yeah. But like you do feel like I do feel badly when people who like don't deserve it, something bad happens to them. But I'm also like, what's the point where it's just like, yeah, I'm good. And then they don't talk about it in this one, but they do talk about it in the sequels about like what happens when you take control back and you try to like end your own life. But every time that they start talking about it, it's in the scheme of the movie, it's like outside of the sequence that like you're not yet ready because you're not the one who's next. And so it's always failed. But it is interesting because there's also a part of me that's like, if someone's like, I'm ready and it is their turn, why don't they get to decide that?
Like how it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was, I think it was in the the fourth one. No, the second one. I don't remember now. They're all the same. But where someone's kid dies and then the mother is like, I like, I'm good. I've lost my entire family now. Like I'm deeply sad. But like, then she dies a horrible death.
That's the second one.
So it's like,
agree.
I don't know. That makes me sad. There's something really sad about that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's also like the name of the game. Like it is what this movie is, and so the expectation is that everyone is going to meet their demise. Because if they didn't, it'd be like, well, why is this movie happening in the first place?
But
like,
never in a casual way. Death is like, I need an A+.
And for what? That's my one wish in life, is like to not have a gruesome death.
Yeah. Am I asking for too much?
Am I asking for too much? I know it's gotta happen. Can it just like be in my sleep, please? Like that's all. Okay. Any more thoughts before we move on?
I don't think so.
All right, fantastic. Well, let's go on to brains.
Tasty.
Tasty. Okay, we've been talking about death this whole time. So the first question is, where do you think the fear of death comes from? As far as like, oh, okay, we're just
Oh
gonna have
my.
all of the things today. Fireworks. Here we go. Um, that's for the YouTubers. Uh, yes. Where do you think like the fear of death comes from within us, and how can we make peace with it without just being like held up in our homes, baby proofing the entire place, so that nothing happens to us?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's like a biological impact.
Mm,
I think that we're designed to like stay alive. Um, and so we like try to avoid scary, fearful things.
mm-hmm,
Otherwise our like fight or flight instinct will kick in. And that is like, again, this component that's there to survive death, to
yes.
survive like things that we, our lives are at stake.
Mm,
I think that's like a piece of its core. I also think there's a lot of like other pressures, like, you know, culturally, sociologically,
mm.
uh, just like existing,
Yes.
that
Existential crisis all around.
yeah,
Yeah,
just all of these things that like, or religion and faith,
absolutely.
a lot of different influences that I think make death really scary. Or uh like on a micro level, like if you have somebody close to you pass away, like at some point in your life, like how that affects you and the emotions that are associated with that, I think that also adds to it. So I feel like
Hmm.
there's a lot of different influences that that create a fear of death. I also don't think that everyone fears death,
Yeah.
but I do. I mean, I think you know a lot of people do, because they want to live their lives to the fullest, and
Absolutely.
feel like they're doing everything that they can with the time that we do have. And
Right.
so there's definitely some fear of like, how much time do I have, and
Hmm.
what's on the other side, again, all the existential questions that are posed thinking about it.
Yeah,
And I think the not knowing, the uncertainty also, I think is a huge part of that.
for
um
sure.
so yeah.
Yeah, the not having control over it, which is what we talked about with the whole rules thing anyway, and being like, how
Hmm.
can you take, I guess, and even in this movie too, because Carter, the asshole guy, is like, okay, well, if it's my time, let me just like crash my car when they're all driving.
Yeah.
Um, so that kind of makes sense. How, if someone is like knee deep into the fear of it, like they are spiraling in the
Hmm.
anxiety like mind about death, what are some ways that they can kind of come out of that spiral? Like what would you suggest to them?
um I mean, I guess it depends, because I think there is
Mm-hmm.
like a phobia.
Oh,
um
okay.
like, so is your anxiety to the degree that it is like impacting your ability to like function on a regular basis and impacting your
Yeah.
relationships? um in which case, like, I think therapy in general, like cognitive behavioral therapy, uh can be effective. I mean, I also think that CBT can be effective for a lot of anxiety related experiences. So even if it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't reach that like threshold of being a full-blown phobia, I think that still, uh like, working through some of that fear and figuring out tools to, um like, redirect some of your attention away from those thoughts, just so that they're not like
Yeah.
all consuming. Because again, it's like, we don't know when it'll happen. We don't know how it'll happen. That
Mm-hmm.
uncertainty is really scary. But also, like, do I want to allow this to like be so debilitating that I can't enjoy any aspect of my time now and like my present?
Yeah.
And so I think that's where like some of it's not to say that like those fears aren't valid. Like it is scary when you think about it. But I also like there are things that I want to be able to do now that I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to regret not doing because my fear got in the way.
Yeah, that's great. Totally. Like not the cheesy live your life to the fullest, but truly like how can you just make it so it's not debilitating? You can actually like be in the present moment,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
is great. Yeah. Awesome. And then my last question is just give us a refresher on what survivor's guilt is, and can you just talk about how that kind of manifested itself within some of the characters in this movie?
Yeah. So survivor's guilt is after somebody survives like a near death or traumatic experience when other people might not have. Um, and it's I don't think it's currently in the DSM. I think it might have been at some
Mm,
point. But I think that like that kind of qualifies an experience, whereas like that could potentially lead to like symptoms of PTSD,
mm-hmm.
which would be like a formal diagnosis. But I think it's I so Wikipedia, I will say, shares that it was first introduced related to the Holocaust, and many Holocaust survivors felt guilty over surviving over their loved ones.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, so I think that that's a good example of like a significant traumatic near death event, and like,
Yeah.
you know, like remaining alive after that. And like, what does it now mean to live without your loved ones? What does it mean to like have witnessed and you know, like observed just like truly horrific things? So I think uh there's folks that like feel this self-blame, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, like why would they survive as opposed to the person or people who didn't.
Right.
Do they feel like a sense of responsibility over the loss or like the trauma that somebody else endured as opposed to them? So I think there's like a lot, and again, like a lot of this can kind of fit into symptoms of like PTSD
Yeah.
in the ways that it manifests. But I think like there's similar symptom, like you can still also then have symptoms of like anxiety and depression and like social withdrawal and like sleep issues, nightmares, like all of these things that again fall under the criteria of PTSD, but like that might be as a result of like also surviving a traumatic
The
event.
traumatic experience. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because doesn't Alex, I think when you were talking about the Dahmer quote too, he also was like, I don't have PTS or I don't have post-traumatic stress. I'm not going Dahmer, you know.
Hmm.
Um, but he is just trying to like figure out what's going on. Do you think
Hmm.
that his actions in that maybe supernatural aside of just trying to like know more information about what happened, maybe for his own uh God, I can't think of the word, but maybe just for his own self, like his own peace
Hmm.
of mind. Do you think that that could maybe be kind of a symptom of PTSD or no?
I mean, I think that he's trying to like I mean, maybe there's some survivor's guilt over, well, I will say, I don't know about Alex, but I do think
Hmm.
that like Todd presents with a little bit, which I think they use to um like I think they say that he dies by suicide, like the
Yes.
police say that, but like
Hmm.
he's like no, that can't be true. But I do think that he probably did have some survivor's guilt over surviving compared to his brother, who told him to get off of the plane.
Yeah.
That feels like the most obvious. I feel like Alex is just kind of portraying symptoms of trying to like take control over death in
Yeah.
a really extreme way.
Yes. Closure is the word I was looking for. But yes, him trying to
Mm.
find like closure. But no,
It,
he's
but
just
it
like,
doesn't
yeah.
seem like he's not like focused on closure really at
Yeah.
all. I feel like he's just like, I gotta figure out this puzzle.
I gotta cheat the
Um,
system. I keep cheating the
yeah,
system. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, but I do think that, that his friend Todd does. And I also think that in some ways Carter does as well in like the anger that he portrays. I think that's like another common, again, like I think, the stereotypical like men don't show emotion other than anger, and like that's the only
Yeah.
way that he's like able to kind of process his feelings about the event, and then also his girlfriend dying. Um but yeah, I think that he has some of that experience in this, and everyone
Yeah.
else is just kind of like weird. And honestly, I think that Sean William Scott is like the weirdest character in this movie.
So random.
He's just being
Yeah.
so strange
Yes.
at all times. Yeah, very, very odd.
No like connection with anyone or any friend group. He's just like just there, and by default experiences all of this.
Yeah, super weird.
Wild and crazy. I feel like you guys mentioned there's some deleted scenes somewhere that connected this a little more that we're just not seeing, but
That was
Probably.
my speculation.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing that there had to be, because
Yeah.
like even, I mean, this movie is so short, but like there's just some things that I feel like are missing from these conversations.
They have to
For
be.
sure. Yeah. Great. All right. Should we rotten tomatin this?
Let's
Rotten.
do it.
It's molten.
Rotten tomatin.
It's the Rotten Tomatoes game.
All right. What do you think Final Destination has on Rotten Tomatoes? Jamie, let's start with you first.
43.
All right. Nikisha?
68.
It has a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 68% like popcorn meter.
Oh.
The critics' consensus is, despite a panel of X-Files alums at the helm and promising premise, flighty performances and poor execution keep Final Destination from ever taking off.
Oh.
Haters. I do think it's interesting that this started as a X-Files episode, or it was
Yeah.
going to be, and then
I
they
didn't
turned
know
it
that.
into a full script.
Well, maybe that's why it's so short.
Yeah.
It should have just been an episode.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
And if you cared,
I do. Thank you.
the Rotten Tomato scores, just in case we ever do them at some point, I won't read these, but Final Destination 5 has the highest Rotten Tomato score of all of these.
I mean, yeah, time will tell for me to weigh in on that.
Yeah. And you all I want to be the first to
What's
know.
the lowest? 4?
4,
bad.
28%.
And then 2?
Nope.
3?
In reverse order, it is Final, and so the highest score is Final Destination 5 with 63%.
Mm-hmm.
Then Final Destination 2 with 52%.
That's bad.
Then Final Destination 3 with 44%. Then Final Destination, the original one, 40%. 40%. And then the lowest one is Final Destination 4 at 28%.
That's why that 3 is more than the first one.
3 is better than this one,
Oh, okay. Maybe I have to rewatch.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
But this one's a classic.
Classic.
Gorgeous.
All right. What do you think this has on Letterboxd? Nikisha, why don't you go first?
2.7.
Jamie?
Like a 3 on the dot.
3.2.
Oh.
And the top 3 most popular reviews. At number 3, there's a guy in this movie named Agent Shrek. Characters keep saying things like "Get me Agent Shrek," and Agent Shrek is on the line. If this movie had come out just 1 year later, they tragically would have had to change that. Oh, and the airplane explosion stuff.
Oh my god. I didn't even notice that his name was Shrek, but yeah.
Number 2, to be a 2000s horror movie character, unapologetically dumb, driving to Nine Inch Nail songs, rocking low-rise jeans, bangs, lip gloss is always applied somehow.
I mean, that was Y2K in a nutshell. So
Fair.
yeah.
And the most popular review, Final Destination is my favorite movie because the boys go poop together. I love positive depictions of male friendship. Yes, we stand boys who are regular.
Yes.
All right.
Stand boys
Who are regular. You got to get the poops out.
Yeah, we did good. All right. Do you want to do the 4 S's?
Yes.
Yeses.
Skull, scare, shakes, and suggestions. The Talking Horrors 4 S's.
The 4 S's are skulls, scares, shakes, and suggestions. Skulls is how well did this handle mental health and human behavior, 1 through 10. Scares is how scary was it, and then shakes is how much it's going to stay with you, all that kind of stuff. Jamie, let's start with you.
Sorry, I'm just editing in real time because I take my craft very seriously. For skulls, I'm giving this a 5. You know, because I think there's some just questionable interactions and actions and things like that. For scares, I'm gonna give it a 4. And I think because I started lower, but I think part of it is like I've seen this movie so many times, but
Yeah.
like I do think that the death sequences are very disturbing. But I think after seeing it so many times, like the impact is still there, but just much lessened. But I still think that they're scary. And for shakes, I'm giving this a 6 because I forgot some parts of it, but like I still think that there's some pretty iconic deaths in this movie, so it's hard to like fully forget.
Absolutely.
Great. Nikisha.
I gave this a 4 for skulls, just because of the dialogue. It's a little crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
But for scares, I gave it a 7 because that's how much I hate planes.
Okay.
And for the pure nostalgia, I'm also gonna give this a 7.
Nice.
Because I will never forget this movie.
I think that makes perfect sense. I gave this a 5 for skulls. I gave this a 3 for scares.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave this a 7.5 for shakes.
Nice.
And then who wants to go first with the suggestions? Jamie, did you?
Sure. I have Saw. Mm-hmm. I also have Cube.
Okay.
Cube.
Okay. A shape, but also a scary movie.
I have not seen Cube.
Oh, it's like late 90s sci-fi horror. It's also not a good movie.
Got it.
But it's like these people wake up and they're trapped in these like weird cube rooms where like traps, scary things are happening in them.
Work. Makes sense. I think we might have mentioned this already, but It Follows, just because things are following. Yeah.
Things do be following.
Things be following the peoples.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2. Go watch Final Destination 3. That's my favorite one so far.
Yeah.
And then Urban Legend, because I will always say Urban Legend for this time period.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time.
So good. I'm so glad that I influenced you to watch that with me.
I love that movie.
So good.
It's good stuff. Fucking Loretta Devine. I just can't. As a security officer or whatever. Good stuff. All right, well, that wraps up our episode of Final Destination. You can follow us on the social medias, the Instagram and the TikTok at Talk Horror Pod. And producer Brian, where can they listen to us?
You can listen to us wherever you get podcasts. So that is like YouTube, hi YouTube. Spotify, as well as Apple Podcasts. Rate and review us there. 5 stars, please.
And
thank you.
All right, producer Brian, hit us with that quote.
We investigate premonitions.
Yes. And that's on that, Mac Daddies. We'll see you
Oh,
next
boy.
time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.